Welcome to a new video series built from a programmer's perspective in the sometimes intimidating world of indie game development. In this video series, I'll be taking indie game development back to the basics and I'll be using real world examples of successful hits such as Stardew Valley, Hollow Knight to show why some decisions will work and others won't, and I'll be tailoring it to everybody's needs.
Okay, so one really great thing about being an indie game developer in 2021 is the amount of resources available to plug the gaps in our development journey where we may lack a bit of strength and depth. There's a lot of us out there, including myself, who lack skills or confidence in the single most important area of game development, and that's developing art for our games. These days you can sell an idea. Take a look at Star Citizen. It's the most backed Kickstarter in history, yet with no finished product after even close to a decade, or it might even have passed a decade by now, who knows. It's still generating massive money consistently. The point is Star Citizen sold an idea, and this is why visuals are so vital. One thing to keep in mind is a misconception that entrepreneurship is about being original. This isn't true, but it's something that I consistently thought in the past. Using common sense though, why would you dismiss success and experience of other developers with the aim of being original? Being original can mean taking something that worked in the past and putting your own spin, but don't try and reinvent the wheel at the same time. In fact, many other videos and blogs online actually showcase Steam customers taking interest in new games by comparing them to games that they've previously played and enjoyed. Let's take a look at some examples of highly successful games, and I'll point out some obvious design choices that some of us might have actually missed completely. Battle Brothers is an extremely successful tactics game where you lead a band of mercenaries in an open sandbox world. Let's now take a high level look at the visuals. Battle Brothers primarily has a world map view and a battle view. The world map has location pins, a map, character sprites, and notice that the characters have no complicated walk animations. It's just a sprite that moves around on your screen, and this carries into the battle screen as well. There's no complex attack animation. Attack feedback is purely from the character bouncing towards the target for a moment. Nice and simple, yet the game is still responsive and engaging. Now of course, this is a very high level view of it. Now even though the game lacks complex animation sequences, the sprites and artwork are still incredibly detailed and have been clearly designed by an expert in the field. But this is still good news for us. If you've got money to invest in your project, then you can significantly cut your costs if you decide to contract out some artwork. Like I said, we now have an abundance of resources available to us, and if you pay an artist to make 5 static sprites, you'll definitely save a lot more funds than if you had to pay for 5 character sprites consisting of 4 animations each. Again, more good news is that less can sometimes be more. Let's take a look at a much more niche game, Dominions 5. The Dominions games are incredibly deep war games that draw mostly from a cult audience, yet they still look to produce very successful numbers in terms of sales, and are some of the best rated games on Steam. One gripe that can sometimes appear in the reviews, however, relates to the visuals, and I might be in the minority here, but I really love the graphics of this game, and one of the reasons myself and others love the graphics is because it leaves enough space for you to imagine. On the flip side, dictating every visual detail to your audience limits their ability to build their own narrative, and modern gamers love to be creative and expressive. Just look at some of the big hits from the past decade, such as Minecraft. Also, take a look at the art from the Dominions community. It is incredible, and this has spanned from players being allowed to imagine. As a further note, units in Dominions 5 have 2 sprites, 2 and that's it, yet people are still drawn to this game, and every release from the 2-person team at Illwinter is broadening their audience. The key here is consistency. Look across the most successful indie games on Steam, whether it's the pixel world of Stardew Valley or the hand-drawn style of Hollow Knight. All great hits have consistent visuals, and this comes from setting rules when creating graphics, designing them in a single art sheet, and following colour schemes. More on this in a future video though. Don't be drawn into making the next super realistic 3D game or complex pixel art with 64x64 sprites and 12 frame run cycles. It's not worth it. And one of the best bits of advice that I ever received was that it's better to create something minimalist and consistent than trying something complicated and failing, because ultimately if you make something that looks half-baked and unprofessional, people won't click in your game. This is actually what fueled the design of my current project, WinterBringers, and who knows, maybe I need to follow my own advice a bit more. But the idea behind this game was, can I make an action RPG where players can express themselves through character customization and yet still keep the visual aspect minimalist and stylized? I will say, I'm really happy with the artistic progress that I'm making in this game, and all the character assets and armour assets and weapon assets have all been made by myself. But maybe you want to call me out and tell me I'm wrong? If you do, why don't you click the link in the description to view WinterBringers on Steam, or maybe you'll be interested enough to wishlist the game. If you do, thank you very much. And also thanks for watching, have a great day, and remember to do whatever it is that makes you happy in life. I'll see you soon.